How do you feel about the recording process now that you've gone through it? Would you do it again? Do you prefer it? Or would you rather go back in studio?
Girl, I would record you anytime you want. All right, new producer of the new Butcher Babies over here.
Yes, there you go. That's the headline.
I work for fruits and vegetables only.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of Innersleeve, the podcast taking a behind-the-scenes look at all things music. I'm Cassius Morris. Joe Pacheco joining me on the line. What's happening, Joe?
Not much, man. Another day, another dollar, as we say, or as I say all the time.
That's it, man. It's a steady process. Well, we're really happy to be back this week, and we have two awesome guests on this episode of the show. We're joined today by two awesome vocalists, Lena Scissorhands of Infected Rain and Heidi Shepherd of the Butcher Babies. Now, these two awesome artists have come together for their own collaboration single. We talk all about it with them. But before that, just a little bit of housekeeping right off the top. We do want to remind you guys that if you enjoy this program, please make sure to subscribe on all of our platforms. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, Spotify. Make sure you click that subscribe button and click the little notification bell right next to it to be notified about all updates in real time. You can choose the option to have some updates or all updates from SoundMojo. And make sure to stay tuned because we have videos almost every single day, community posts, polls, and much, much more. Pretty much any way we can find out what you guys want to see in here on this program, we put it up there on the page, and we are very interactive with you guys, so make sure to go check us out there. We also have some merchandise for sale, right, Joe?
Yep, we got some nice hoodies, some hats, V-necks, crew necks, even some nice comfy pillows in case you're under the weather, you know, why not?
Why not? Definitely take yourself to the next level with that SoundMojo merchandise. Keep yourself warm, and can't wait to keep showcasing you guys as you send it in, as you buy that merchandise. Make sure to send those photos, and we will showcase you guys on our social media and right here on the show. Before we jump into today's interview, we're going to go through a couple of news stories in the world of music. Now, this is something interesting, going with the theme of streaming numbers that we've been talking about on the show. Now, Joe, what's up with the numbers over here right now?
Well, this was interesting because, I mean, we all know, we spoke about it last week, Mariah Carey makes X amount of money and the royalty rates for artists are really crap, to say, for lack of a better word. But this T-Pain was interesting. He posted this, so it got a lot of attention. And like some people figured out a way on Reddit, like to take the streams that exist, as you see here, these Amazon published, these are the streams that they've published. I don't know how up to date they are, but this is pretty much what it is. And somebody took it and said, well, how much would it take to make $1? How many streams would it take to make $1? And it's interesting because you look at like Apple Music would take 128 streams, Tidal 78, but the eye opener is really YouTube Music at 1,250 streams before you can make $1.
Come on.
You know, and like just before the call, when we were talking about this, I made a quick calculation of what I think 7 cents per royalty if you're streamed on the radio here in Canada. I'm not 100%. I couldn't find the actual rate, but 1,200 streams at 7 cents, you'd make at least $800 and something in terms of airplay. So not $1 here. So this is huge.
You're kidding.
No, I'm telling you, this is the real deal that musicians have to deal with, right? And you have to spread yourself so thin and get yourself everywhere. But the thing is, it's hard. Like the article continues to mention that it's hard to nail, and it's true. It's hard to nail exactly how much Spotify will pay an artist per stream because it all depends on is it someone who's a paid subscriber? Is it a free subscriber? What country are they in? Because the ad rates, and YouTube too, the ad rates will change per country, per whatever. If you're a preferred YouTuber, then you probably even get more, obviously preferred rates. So it's really hard to nail down exactly what you can earn from each stream because there's just so many variables. But this is just really puts it really into perspective, So technically, if all of these, you've had, what is this, like 1,000, another 2,000. So you're looking at like almost 3,000 or 3,005 something streams to make $2. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot of work, man.
Across all the platforms.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, So it's like add all these up for you to make $1, you would need, well, actually, no, you would make $1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, $8 technically. So
I shouldn't laugh because it's such a shame.
what else are you gonna do unless we start crying? And I don't have a really good like camera crying face, you know.
Yeah, we've tried the crying on other episodes. Didn't go over too well. No, I mean, Joe, my question is, I mean, looking at this, do you think that this has the potential to ever change? I mean, in the age of the internet, we have such transparency. We can see right through all of this. Is it that they don't care, or is it that they maybe will now realize they're being found out and they'll pay the artist more?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Like, I'd love to, the hopeful guy that I am always says, yeah, it's going to change. And maybe with all this crypto NFT decentralization, there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, maybe, for this kind of stuff. But as long as companies are in control, and look, I understand everybody needs to eat. Everybody, they have to pay employees, salaries, building, and all that stuff. But I mean, you could bump up the rate a bit more for artists because they're your bread and butter. Without any music, you would have nothing to sell or a salary to begin with, right? So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think anything's ever going to change?
I hope it does. I'm with you. I think it's hard to tell what exactly is going to happen, but, I definitely think the artist should be making more. I mean, personally, when it comes to business, I'm okay if the owner of a service makes more in the end. I think that's fair, but I think it should be, in terms of percentages, a lot closer to what the artist is making,
Well, that's it. It also, like, it's a percentage, it's relative too. Like, how much... Example, if music was like making you 20% of your salary, let's take like a video game company, right? They make video games, they sell video games, there's all the advertising, salaries, it's like huge, right, to do. But
yeah,
if music is 20% of it and they pay 20% of the royalty, then it's cool, But like here, it's like they make 100% or 99% of the pie or whatever, and like the artist gets the littlest percent. So that's kind of sucks.
Yeah, let's at least go for an 80-20, something, 85-15, something.
Yeah, and like to the point, like it pissed everybody off last year, 2021, when Daniel Ek, the CEO of Spotify, said, "Oh, artists are lazy. They should put out more music more consistently." But like, that's great. We can pump out music all we want. Like, there's already 40 to 60,000 songs a day published on Spotify, and how much of it actually gets listened to, right? Like, it's.
Yeah, I think that's a silly statement to say that you need to, that's like saying if you're not getting paid enough to build houses, build more houses. I don't think that's necessarily the issue.
Because back in the day, right, it was an album a year, maybe two. Well, look at the Beatles' day. It was like two albums a year and stuff, but they played. Mm-hmm. And now it's like they're saying, artists take too long between albums, But like, hey, man, we got to tour, we got to make money because, like, some of these albums, they cost money to make, Or let's say if you're on a label, great, you're on a label, but you got to pay back those expenses. So you have to tour, you have to sell merch, you have to, it's the only way people actually make money, so.
Yeah, they got to make money somewhere because they're not making it on streaming services. So I think that's the big point that we should be giving to the CEO here.
There you go.
Now, a couple episodes back here on Innersleeve, we discussed David Bowie's estate shopping around for a sale of his musical catalog. Now, just in case you missed it, this means that all of the rights of all of David Bowie's music would be sold to one company for them to distribute as they please, as they see fit. And it looks like they settled on an offer from Warner Music Group.
Yeah, Warner Chappell acquires the entire David Bowie catalog. So that includes... for $200 million, right? So that includes 26 studio albums and his latest posthumous toy in 2021, and as well as some of the Tin Machine. I don't know if you're familiar with Tin Machine, but it was a project in the late 80s, early 90s that he did. It was a bit more rock-oriented.
I never heard that.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people really getting into it. The guitar player, I remember named Reeves Gabriels, or I don't know how I remember that, but I do. And he was always featured with a wicked guitar at the time called the Parker Fly, which was totally a different take on guitars, made out of aircraft aluminum, very light. And it really took off, it did really well. So, but yeah, we spoke about this a couple weeks back, about them and how we felt about it, right? Like, would you want to hear Space Oddity in a Walmart commercial? It's whatever, right? Like, it's out of our control, this stuff. And it's interesting that like these labels have doled out millions, if not billions, over the last year alone to collect these catalogs. Like, I mean, there's a lot more like that have been sold, and we just spoke recently of $500 million Bruce Springsteen selling his estate, so I guess we're gonna see a lot more of this coming, man. This is like a hefty payday if you think about it. You bought a house in the '70s. It cost you $20,000 or $10,000. Next thing you know, it's like worth $700,000. That's massive, right? So these guys have made money already on their career, obviously, and now the family, at least the estate. But in Bruce's case, Bruce makes money, right? On another side note. Yeah, another side note, like to celebrate this with David's 75th birthday. If you're a Sirius XM subscriber, you'll have they're dedicating a channel just to David Bowie from January 4th to the 18th on XM 104. So and like what's really cool about this is they're gonna have some celebrity DJs. So Beck, Billy Corgan, Linda Perry, Rosanna Arquette, Patrick Stump. And they're all going to be playing their favorite songs, and there's going to be some live concerts and everything, recordings and stuff from his tours and stuff. So if you're a big fan, definitely check that out.
Now, speaking of estates and posthumous releases, it looks like the estate of Nipsey Hussle is jumping into the game. Nipsey's final album is evidently being released as an NFT to be 1,000 copies of this exclusive stream. And there's different price points and different sort of bundles for this, right, Joe?
Yeah, this is the first time I kind of see this where they're doing like, basically here it says, according to the same source, NFT's first pressing covering tokens 50. So basically the first 50 are going to be given to crew or engineers or people that like they've decided they want to give them to or sell them to, I'm assuming. But after that, you get from tokens 250 to 250, they'll set you back 1 ether, which is basically depends. Here it says $3,760 US. All depends on the day of. Depends
on the day.
Yeah, and then and then 2 ether for the next pressing, 250, and 3 ether, which is $11,000 for the third pressing. So I wonder, I don't know if it doesn't really go into detail and tell you exactly what it's going to be. If you're getting any use cases out of it, like is there something else besides listening to the album or getting to own an exclusive piece of merch for that album.
Well, it looks like there's different incentives. I know that the different tracks are definitely incentive. Part of what they mention here is that the title track is going to be Blue Laces 3, so I guess that's what the album is called. For all the Nipsey fans out there, of course, Blue Laces 2, some of his most acclaimed stuff. So that'll be a big incentive. Also, 7 additional unreleased tracks. The Nipsey Hussle documentary, which I guess has never been seen, and behind the scenes footage of all things Nipsey is what the quote is from the organizers of this. So a lot of good incentives, Joe. I mean, for me personally though, I find it kind of weird whenever there's a posthumous release and the artist isn't alive. I don't know about you, but it just does it ever feel off to you in a way?
It feels a bit weird, of course, but at the same time, there's so much stuff. Look, we know, like the Beatles, we just got the access to all those awesome videos and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff we don't know about the vaults, the Frank Zappa vaults. God knows what Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd has and all that stuff. So it doesn't bother me as much when I think of it from that angle. There's a lot of stuff that people work on and didn't get a chance to release. Like David Bowie just released an album in 2021. But yeah, it is a bit weird, but I don't know, I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of it.
I agree, actually. And, I think it's good so long as the artist's wishes are sort of followed and it's laid out in the way that the artist would have wanted it. We look at an artist like Pop Smoke, for example. He was very vocal through his entire life that he did not want to do features with a bunch of people. He didn't like albums with a bunch of features. Then he passes away and they release an album featuring Pop Smoke and pretty much every rapper ever, which was against his wishes. So, this looks like it's something I think Nipsey's team, I think his family was really tight knit. I think it's very family oriented. So I actually have some faith in this, and it'll be good to see.
Would you pick something up like this? Let's say 1 ether, it's like $3,000. I don't know if we have $3,000 to throw on an album, but let's say, would you be interested in picking up? Let's say if it was like $50 or $100.
Not this one, but if it was an artist like, let's say, a Frank Zappa thing, probably. Yeah, I think there's definitely, if it was in a reasonable price, I would do it. And I think it mentions even here in this little offer about the article, 1,000 copies of 2013's Crenshaw will be for sale for $100 a piece. So it looks like definitely the price point is opening up a bit too.
Yeah, I mean, do you think I'm not one to buy like a lot of collector items and stuff like that. I have some that I've picked up over the years going to concerts where I got a Dimebag Darrell pick. I got like a drumstick from Pantera drummer. Over the years I collect those things, but I mean, to actually go out, I'm not one of those guys that goes out and like, oh, I want this piece. Like for you, I'm just curious, like, would you be interested in getting something like that for $50-$100? And like, why? Like, is it because it's something to collect and not that many people have?
Yeah, I would if I could afford it. I mean, $50-$100 definitely. When it gets into the, thousands of dollars, again, if I could afford it, sure. But, I think it's good. And I think it's good when an artist puts out merchandise or collectibles that is reasonably priced. I think it increases the connection between them and the fans. And it's just good. Like I think Young Thug, he put out his latest CD, Punk. It was signed for $20. And I saw that. I was like, I'd totally buy that, So I think it's a good look if you put it for cheaper.
Yeah, it's interesting. A couple of years back, I went to watch. I bought tickets for John Mayer, and I got a CD with my ticket. Same thing with
nice.
David Gilmour, Pink Floyd in 2016. I bought tickets to go see him in Toronto, and I got a free album. I'm like, wow, why not?
Damn,
right?
you're lucky. You got tickets?
Yeah, dude. Like, that's like one show. I've seen him twice in situations where it's like, wow, it only cost like I would have paid. I wouldn't have. That's not in my nature. But it's like, I would have paid $1,000 if I had that kind of money for that experience. And I got it like, wow, okay, I'm just watching David Gilmour play. Like some classic Pink Floyd stuff. Yeah, very good.
Wow. Maybe we'll have to do an episode on concert stories one day.
Oh, that would be interesting. We should get some musicians, some artists too, to share some of their concert stories. That would be interesting.
See, live brainstorms, folks. We're always working tuned for that. So now we're going to jump into the interview for today. As mentioned, we have Lena Scissorhands and Heidi Shepherd of Infected Rain and the Butcher Babies. We thank them both for coming on the show, and we'll catch you guys afterwards. So how's it been? I mean, and maybe take us back sort of to the process of how you both got started together, because two awesome groups collaborating, it's not something you really see every day.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Thank you. I mean, do you mean in general as bands or for this specific collaboration?
Yeah, maybe if we could start with The Realm of Chaos and sort of how the inception
absolutely.
of that.
And I believe I will start here. This is very interesting because this wasn't planned. Actually, it wasn't like we planned that while working on the album, and we had a specific plan, a specific list, or a specific scenario. It just, because of the pandemic, Infected Rain for the first time had to record and work remotely. I mean, we've been working remotely a lot, but not to the extent of like actually recording. I never had the need to record from home or to even have the equipment, because I would always fly to Moldova, where the band is from, and we would always work together, right? So, but because of the pandemic, I invested time and money into this little vocal booth I have in my house. And I want to give a big shout out to my fans on Patreon, because that happened because of their support and love. That was the only way that happened. And so that's how little by little I started learning the craft of recording, which is not a joke, guys. It's not
easy stuff.
It's not like people go to school for that. Do you know what I mean? And my boys were very, very patient, and they were teaching me. I only learned what it takes for the part of vocals and what I needed to know. And slowly but surely, I did a lot of collaborations, and I started working on the new album, right? And that's what we did. And we weren't on a schedule. We didn't have deadlines because of the pandemic. Nobody knew when, how. We were just keeping busy, keeping creative and stuff like that. So to the point where the album was fully recorded, was already in the process of mastering, and the producer was working his magic on it. We were polishing already the songs, and all of a sudden I had the idea of, I just threw it out like that and said it out loud without really thinking who or how. But I was like, it would have been so awesome to have a, you know, kick-ass, extra spiciness to actually 2 songs. I chose
sprinkle it in there.
Yeah,
little seasoning.
pepper. And I was like, it would be so cool. And there was 2 songs that I was like, either or, you know, these are like, they are so raw, both of the songs, and so in your face that extra punch would have been like a knockdown. You know what I mean? And boys are like, yeah, but how are we going to do that? Because like of the situation we live in and the world we have to deal with, you know? And right then and there, I was like, my friend Heidi, you know, because we became super close, specifically thanks to the
pandemic.
COVID, yeah.
Okay.
And we know each other since 2013, and we've been, you know, online talking here and there and supporting each other here and there, commenting, following each other. But we were never as close as actual friendship. We never had this like actual genuine friendship, not until, you know, half of the band moved here to Las Vegas, where I lived for the past 6 years. And we just became closer. Accidentally, they moved in my neighborhood, which is another.
I crashed her party.
Yeah.
Really?
For real. And it was,
What are the odds?
I know. And I was like, no fucking way. She gave me the address. I was like, wait, that's my address.
A super cool party.
Yeah. So right away, I thought about her because Heidi has an incredible persona in the music. Without even seeing her, you can feel her energy. And you listen to, oh, absolutely. And I say it with all my heart, genuinely. And I thought about her right away. And, you know, Heidi, because we're super close friends, we share with each other, you know, even a non-finished product. And she was already familiar with what I was working on in general. And without even hearing the songs that I was like to give her to choose from, she's like, fuck yeah, I want to be part of it, you know? And
Already in.
And,
of course.
And then I gave her the choice, and we both agreed that this specific song would be perfect. And in fact, as I just said, the song was already recorded by me fully. It wasn't planned to have anybody. It actually exists. We will never give it to the world, but it exists with only my vocals. And and she said yes, she loved it. We'd never planned who says what. I'm sorry, in what part. We just made it organically happen in the vocal studio, which I recorded her.
She was my producer. It was so cool. So I just went over there and we warmed up together, and she's like, okay, just go for it. I'm like, well, what? Like, well, maybe I'll do this line. She's like, okay, you know. And so it was like,
why not?
Cool if we go back and forth here and you scream this, and I'm like, run in.
Yeah, it's cool. It was really fun and really unique for us to work that way. I felt totally comfortable in the vocal booth with her. She got her producer credit there, right? And and it just was really organic, you know. And after the fact, we actually just completed a tour together here in the States, and it was obviously super successful and really fun. But before and even after that, everyone's like, so do we get a collaboration now between you guys? You guys are such good friends. We're like, well, we've already done that.
Yes, just wait till you guys hear what we have type of thing.
Right? And the best part about it is we didn't really even plan to have a music video for it right away, right? Like we did a collaboration, then we're like, you know, we'll see. And then we were like, it would have been so cool if we could film something together as well, but we didn't know when our schedule will be back to normal and if we will have time for it. And it so happened that because we toured together after the tour, almost right away, we had time and we filmed the music video, which was actually filmed in 2 different countries. My boys filmed it in Moldova and we filmed it here, and we had to make sure everything looks absolutely the same. So that's
wow.
It's a really cool fact. I mean, that's very rare. And the fact that they pulled it off and made it look so identical is really cool. I've never been a part of anything like that. I thought it was really unique and cool.
That's tough. That's a tough thing to pull off because lighting is so hard to nail perfectly, you know.
Well, to the credit, I'm sorry to interrupt you. To our credit, I guess, this specific music video was filmed and directed by my guitar player Vidic, and he was there when the band was filmed, and he in a way told what light he wants and how, and he was there when we were filming, and he filmed us, and he knew exactly how to do it, and to the point where even the sand that we're kicking around is the exact same sand. We oh my God, we spent an entire day here going from Home Depot to construction stores, finding that specific sand, which is a unique sand that is not the classic sand, that we all know. Yeah.
Wow, it's crazy that the consistency.
That was making moves,
making big moves, and it's so cool that you kept it that consistent. So, Heidi, in terms of the recording process, was this something very new for you? Like, how often does Butcher Baby sort of do their own production and stuff like that?
We do our own demos.
Okay,
but for the most part, yeah. So, but Carla and I live in different states. So if she's going to do pre-pro at her house, she does it separately. I do it here at my house. My guitar player records me. And honestly, it's demoing is great, but we don't do our own production at all. In fact, we've tried to learn how, and we're still in the process of learning how. It's a very unique thing. People go to school for it, and people really, that's an art form that I just don't know. And I wouldn't really trust myself with knowing it. So I love to go to the professionals for that. I just think that I'll get a better product of myself if I go to someone else.
Oh, trust me, it was the same for me. I was so nervous. Like when I was learning how to do that, and I finally started recording, I am my worst critic. I was like,
that's the hardest thing.
Delete. You know what I mean?
Even with demos, I'm like,
yeah.
Can we get a different vocalist in here?
But that's the quality control, though, because you have a certain standard that you want to put out, and you keep meeting that standard. So perhaps that's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, though. Thank you.
Maybe if we had the night.
How do you feel about the recording process now that you've gone through it? Would you do it again? Do you prefer it? Or would you rather go back in studio?
Girl, I will record you anytime you want.
All right, new producer of the new Butcher Babies over here.
Yes.
There you go.
That's the headline.
I work for fruits and vegetables only.
Well, I might get you to do my record too.
There we go.
So on the spoken word intro, that you both sort of go back and forth on the realm of chaos. I'm curious about that. What was sort of the inception of that beginning piece?
Well, I write lyrics for Infected Rain, and this song wasn't an exception. As I said, it wasn't planned to be even written or even recorded together. So in the alchemy of good and bad, just this first part of the phrase already, like the alchemy in general, we are talking about something that we can't see. Something unspoken, something chemical, something,
Ethereal,
magical or whatever. Yeah. Good and bad. What is good and bad is so different for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, are you the hunter or are you the bait? And then this over here is so important because I go to extremes, right? And later on in the song, I say, are you the fisherman or are you the lure? Are you the shepherd or the sheep or whatever, the dark and the light and all that. That in this song, I bring up as a duality that people cannot accept. For some reason, they are one or the other. And I mean, the majority, obviously, there are absolutely amazing human beings on this planet that are insanely, spiritual and good for them. And I try to be as spiritual as possible with my own self and in general with what I do. So with this song and with this first introduction to the song, that's what I want for people to focus.
It kind of sums up the whole meaning of the song.
Yeah, it's like, find the balance between the two. You don't have to be one or the other. because it's bad to be one or the other. Find the balance and learn how to dance around people, because everybody's unique and beautiful in their own way.
And about respecting the other, if you feel like it's respecting each other. And I think this was, and I'm taking a little bit of, she wrote these lyrics. And so, especially during the pandemic, and it seemed like everyone kind of came to a head, especially in the States with, the riots and everything crazy going on. It was kind of just like looking at things with like imploring everyone to have a mutual respect.
Yeah.
And look within themselves. When it came to recording that, she had already had all the lyrics done for this song and all the parts done for the song. And I really loved her at the beginning of it. And so what I tried to do is kind of a low voice underneath hers. But in the end, it kind of sounded cool with like my voice here, her voice here. So it was like kind of the back and forth thing.
Like question and answer.
Yeah. And it was kind of cool. And you see it in the music video where both of us are kind of asking the listener in this, like, let's, here's the question.
Yeah.
Now let's find the answer.
Because if you think about it, it's so simple. The answer is so simple. It's not like a lot of people will take this song, be like, oh yeah, there's no way I'm the hunter, I'm the fisherman. No, dude, you're not. That's your ego talking. That's what I'm trying to say. Stop trying to be one or the other. So, with this song, I implore everybody to accept the duality, and it's fine to sometimes be more submissive and maybe follow some rules, because some of the rules exist in the nature even for a reason. Look at the animals, and they're, they also have rules they live with. The nature itself has rules, and you can't like and love the sunshine without loving and accepting the darkness. You can't, and vice versa. So that's I guess the main message. It's a good one.
That's amazing. That's what I've been saying for years. You just summed it up. It's like you can't have one without the other. It's impossible.
Absolutely. Yep.
So it sounds like there was a lot of inspiration sort of through the pandemic. I mean, was that something that, and obviously you probably both have different answers, but was that something you expected, or when the pandemic first happened, did you think it would slow you down?
In my case, I didn't know what to expect, honestly.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think anyone did.
Yeah, I didn't know.
True.
For me, honestly, like the first part of the pandemic was big depression. I was alone. I was very lonely. I had some friends that were part of my previous life that was actually falling apart a little bit. I had to go through big changes in my personal life a little bit prior to the pandemic. And I was slowly kind of getting out of that hole that I fell in, and then the COVID happened and gave me another slap, and it was very hard on me in the beginning, knowing that not only I'm trying to be sane and survive, but also now I can do what I love the most and what helps me the most, and which is my therapy. It's what I can't live without. So that got a really big impact on my life in the beginning. I wasn't going outside at all. Thanks God I had my dog with me. Otherwise I would have probably become an insane person.
That's a lot of people.
And again, that's a lot of people. Absolutely. But it just so happened that I don't have family here. I barely had a couple of friends that were also kind of part of my previous life. And it was a little bit difficult here and there. I felt very, very lonely but that changed. Because of the pandemic, I did eventually get closer to some of my fellow musicians, and we became closer and closer and closer. But when it comes to the recording itself, and I don't know if I got your question correctly, if what you meant was, did we expect that we are gonna be influenced by what's happening in the world and write about it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I did not know exactly, because in a way or another, I always write about what I'm going through. In a way or another, I always bring it up. And I have exactly three songs on this upcoming album that are about this global depression we're all living in. And I'm not only talking about COVID. the fires around the planet that were killing nature and animals, the riots that were putting people against each other, and so on. You know, you can go on and on and on.
Oh
And
my goodness, country by country, you could come up with something unique
yeah,
per country.
Or the same, or it's sort of like the same, you know, it seems so easy, like such a simple solution, but yet why is it so difficult, right?
Yeah, but how can you not gain inspiration from that? When it comes down to it, you know, all of us are gaining some sort of inspiration by our emotions. Whether you watch a movie or you listen to a song, you're gaining some sort of different perspective. And I think with COVID and the world shutting down, we had nothing but time to gain inspiration from it. I think almost every single artist that I've spoken to has written about it, because in all honesty, it's all we could write about. It's all we could feel. Everyone is feeling the exact same thing because we were all going through the exact same thing. But in comparison with other songs that I've already heard from artists that already released their work, in comparison with them, which is not better or worse, it's just different. Yeah. What I try to write about is I try to bring people's attention to the fact that, you guys, that's our fault. That's our fault. Make that change. You know, let's talk about Michael Jackson and his make that change. Look at the person and the man in the mirror. And if we are going to make simple, easy changes in our everyday routine habits, we will make this world a better place. And that's exactly what I was trying to put down in those lyrics, you know.
Some accountability for people, maybe.
Yeah, that's very well said.
That's really interesting, you know, and it's cool that you're, you know, exploring those themes. Just sort of a wild card question here, because here at Watch Mojo, we're mostly known for our top 10 lists. And one of the lists that we pulled is the top 10 Super Bowl performances. And we just wanted to ask you, who would you love to see perform at the Super Bowl if you could pick like the dream lineup for the halftime show? And you can say yourselves, by the way. That'd be a pretty cool answer.
Well, obviously.
Other than yourselves.
You know, it'd be quite interesting to see like a full new metal lineup. You know, throw in like the classic new metal bands like Slipknot, Korn, Limp Bizkit, and I don't know I don't even know who else you could throw in there.
Deftones.
There
we go.
You put those four in there, and I mean, you get all of them on there and doing something all together. That'd be sick. Or the big four all together. That'd be cool.
Oh yeah, so. That'd be heavy. Meshuggah, like I see right in the back, that would be one of my picks to have Meshuggah play.
Yeah, put Gojira over there. Put Gojira over
now we're talking.
Please, because their live performance. Oh my God.
I saw them once.
Everybody has to see them live at least once.
You know, and it'd be really cool for metal to be brought to the masses with that. I doubt anything like that will ever happen, but it'd be rad. It'd be definitely cool. If anything like that's going to happen, it's going to happen here in Vegas with the Raiders, because the Raiders are all about that.
Exactly.
Amen. Do you think that metal is represented enough in sort of award shows and things like that? And sort of what are your thoughts on that?
No, I think that's a resounding no from
unfortunately, because if it was presented to people a little bit more, in more like events like that, maybe then people of different generations and people of different cultures would accept the metal community in general a little bit more, and won't be like, I wish you didn't scream and only sang, you know, whatever.
It's a shame you'd use that pretty face for screamer people.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I'm cueing everyone's grandma there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm getting flashbacks.
I know, but can you imagine like the 12-year-olds that you would inspire? Like that wouldn't get to see you guys?
That was us.
Yeah.
You know, we were those kids that were inspired by, because metal was so widely accepted on MTV and everything. We were inspired by it. Yeah. And I think, you know, it's a shame that they don't have that nowadays, that kids don't have that access to
at Grammy Awards, at Oscars,
billboards.
bring some metal.
Yeah.
On the
Honestly.
TV show, not just in the categories. Bring it on the TV show.
Yeah, everywhere.
Yep.
And hey, if you need to take small steps and go with just alternative bands first, and then slowly going harder and harder, do your
At the
thing.
American Music Awards, Diplo did play Slipknot, so I'm cool.
Wow.
Nice.
We're getting somewhere, a bit of traction now.
Yeah.
That's epic. Well, I know you probably have a couple more calls to get to, but we really appreciate your time, and hopefully we get to catch up again sometime.
Thank
Thank you so much, guys. Have
Awesome.
a wonderful weekend. We appreciate your time.
You too. Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.
Huge shout out to Lena Scissorhands and Heidi Shepherd for joining us on episode number 55 of Innersleeve. That was a fun chat, Joe. You know, always cool when you see some artists taking initiative and sort of making that crossover from just a vocalist into actually mixing, mastering, and producing. I think it's a really important thing for artists to go through.
Yeah, like it's especially like they're used to working in studios or someone else takes over, and now they had to record their own vocals, which is like she said, oh my God, people go to school for this stuff. Like she was so critical of her own, I guess, takes and quality. But I mean, I'm sure it could change the way things work in the future, right? Then she's like, wow, I can set up, I can do anytime track vocals anywhere, you know? It's awesome. The more power
Totally.
I think an artist has in their hands or more control that they can do, the better, right?
It's true. It brings you closer to the music. You know, I heard this quote recently that they said the engineer is the closest person to the music. What do you think of that?
Well, I've done a lot of engineering over the years, and yeah, it depends. I wouldn't be. Yeah, I would say, because like not only are you trying to get the artist's vision, what they hear in their head, the sound wise, to come across the speakers, and then that'll inspire them to give even better performances, which will make the producer happy, right? That's what the producer wants, is a better performance. And then all the, you're intimate, you have to take care of their files. You got to make sure it's the right take. You got to name it properly, mix, the mixer guy. Yeah, for sure. I guess as much as the artist is, I guess next would be the engineer.
So much to do.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff, man.
It's a big process.
Yeah, and I loved like how they were so like excited about working together, right? It just showed up like that, and they were neighbors. They didn't even know it, or they lived close to each other and didn't even know it. That was funny,
Yeah, it's so cool to see the genuine happiness, and I think it sort of shows, and I think it was hinted at through some of the lyrical content and through some of what they were saying, but it seems like they're very happy to be feeling some kind of normalcy after this pandemic starting. I mean, it feels like things have been so crazy for so long. They seem to really be enjoying it. It almost seemed like a breath of fresh air for the two of them.
Yeah, I agree, man. Totally. And, I'd be upset if we didn't mention thanks to Natalie at Napalm Records for putting this together, because she's just hit us up saying like, wow, I got Heidi and Lena at the same time. Let's do it. So we had to like, okay, let's go for it. We got this excellent interview out of it.
Definitely. We love Napalm Records over here at SoundMojo. Big shout out to Napalm. Definitely one of the best labels in the entire metal world. So we appreciate you guys. And thanks to everybody for tuning into this episode. We're really happy you enjoyed it. You guys are definitely going to want to stay tuned for the next episode. We have another big powerhouse coming up and some very, very special content coming up. Right, Joe?
Yep. I was about to say it, but I'm like, we'll just wait one more week.
One more week. Yeah, we'll keep them hanging on. But we have some really cool stuff for you. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to subscribe to us on the YouTube page. We're also on all audio podcast platforms, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I mean, the list goes on and on. Make sure to subscribe, click that follow button, click the notification bell to get real-time updates about everything that we're doing. You can choose some of the updates or all of the updates for the SoundMojo page. Look out for those community tabs, those polls, everything that we put up to find out what you guys want to see and hear on the show. And thanks so much for checking in with us. We'll catch you guys next week.